ready to call to order our joint meeting of the City Council, successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, Public Finance Authority, the Public Utility Authority, Housing Authority, Paris Joint Powers Authority, and the Paris Community Economic Development Corporation of the City of Paris. This Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 at 6:59 p.m. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Nava?
Present.
Councilmember Corona?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Raab?
Here.
Councilmember Vallejo?
Here.
Mayor Vargas?
Present, thank you. Item 3 is our invocation, which will be led by Evangelist Shakita Porter from the Israel Church of God in Christ. Will you please stand and join us for the invocation? Remain standing for item 4, which is our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilwoman Nava.
Every head bowed, every eyes closed. Father, before we ask you of anything, we want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for blessing us to come together again one more time. And I'm asking you, oh God, to look on this meeting. You be in the presence of this meeting. Bless the mayor, oh God. Give him direction. Show him how to lead the people. Give him what to say in the name of Jesus. And everyone that's up under the sound of my voice, oh God, speak to their heart in the name of Jesus. God, you see and you know the need of every person that's here on tonight. I'm asking you to meet their needs, turn things around, fix it in their life in the name of Jesus. And God, whatever this meeting is for, oh God, bless it in the name of Jesus, that it may be accomplished in Jesus' name. And God, we give your name the praise because you are worthy of all the glory and you are worthy of all of the honor in Jesus' name. And everyone says, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Now please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, item 5 is a report on closed session. Attorney Soltani.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council met in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 in 3 cases. No reportable action was taken. The council met pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 to conduct labor negotiations. No reportable action was taken.
Thank you. Okay, item 6 is presentations and announcements. 6A is a presentation of proclamation declaring April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of Paris. This will be issued by given by our Director of Public Works, Bryant Hill.
Good evening, Mayor. Lisette Hernandez will present this item.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council, City staff. After today's proclamation, the City of Paris is eligible to be designated as a Tree City USA member. And what that means is that the city has met. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, it's not switching out. But what that means is that the city has met. There it goes. That's the wrong side. 4 core standards of sound urban forestry management, demonstrating a commitment to caring for and managing its public trees, and recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation. The 4 standards are to have a designated department responsible for trees, and in this case, it would be Public Works. To have a community tree ordinance, which we do have one in place. To have an annual budget of at least $2 per capita. Currently, it's $8. And an annual Arbor Day observance proclamation, which sets Arbor Day to April 25th this year. City of Paris encourages residents to participate as there are over 12,000 trees in the city right away, and that number keeps on growing. At the 2025 Health Fair, Public Works hosted a raffle for residents to participate in a tree giveaway, and we had several participants. Last year, we gave away over 200 trees. Trees play a critical role in creating a healthier, safer, and more connected community as they clean our air, filter our water, provide shade, and cool our cities by up to 10 degrees. And currently, we have developers that contribute funding for tree projects, which help us to continue expanding our inventory. This was a really neat fact that we found on the Tree City USA website, specific to the Aleppo pines at May Ranch. The trees in that area, there's 58 Aleppo pines on Evans Road that offset over 15,000 miles worth of carbon emitted gases by vehicles. And that concludes my presentation.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Now you can read the proclamation.
Yeah, we have two more to go too with photos, so I guess we'll just finish everything off down there. So let's go ahead and go down and we'll issue this proclamation, then we'll do the other. Well, does the municipal clerks have a presentation too? Yes. A slideshow and all that stuff? Well, I got young kids in the day, so we're just gonna be going up and down. All right, it's a long one, so we'll just cut to the chase. Whereas the celebration of Arbor Day represents a commitment to preserving the natural beauty and resources that sustain our community, serving as a reminder of the essential contributions trees make to our quality of life by providing shade, clean air, wildlife habitats, and climate benefits. So therefore be it resolved that the Mayor, Michael M. Vargas, and the City Council do hereby recognize Friday, April 25th, to be Arbor Day. We encourage all residents to join us in celebrating the beauty and value of trees by planting and caring for them, contributing to a greener, healthier, and more vibrant Paris. Together, let us reaffirm our commitment to environmental stewardship, preserve our city's natural heritage, and ensure that future generations enjoy the countless benefits that trees bring to our community. This is presented on the 8th day of April 2025. Congratulations. Program coordinator for our special districts where a lot of trees are involved with, so we need to get a picture with him. Huh? All right, before we go back up, we'll present the next one, which is the Arts, Culture, Creativity, and Gardening Month. This is item 6B. And this is a proclamation for the families achieving success in partnering with Soul Farms. Excuse me, Soul Food. Did I say Soul Food? It's been a long day. Soulful Soil Farms to enhance the Paris community through its D Street Garden project, which celebrates African American and Latino American heritage with culturally significant art and crops, addresses food insecurity through fresh produce and a farmer's market, and serves as a hub for education, sustainability, and community engagement. And whereas the collective efforts promote equity, celebrate diversity, and enhance the well-being of our community through arts, culture, creativity, and gardening. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the Paris City Council do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Arts, Cultural, Creativity, and Gardening Month. We encourage all residents to take part in this celebration by engaging in artistic endeavors, supporting cultural initiatives, and cultivating a greener, more connected community. Presented this 8th day of April 2025. Okay, item 6C is, I left my agenda up there. This is the Municipal Clerk Month. Is that what it's called? Week. Also, you only have a week to do this. City Clerk's Week. This is a presentation of proclamation and recognition of the Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through May 10th. This item is going to be presented by our Director of Administrative Services, Ms. Saida Moscar.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and city staff. May 4th through May 10th is National City Clerks Week. In honor of this important recognition, I would like to appreciate City Clerk Nancy Salazar for her role within the city and public service to the Paris community. The City Clerk's Office handles city records management and provides many essential services to the Paris residents and to our staff. We have a short video highlighting what we do and the importance of our historical records preservation for this great city. But before we start the video, I would like to introduce and thank our wonderful staff, Assistant City Clerk Judy Hani, Administrative Technician 3, Christina Pedroza, and Administrative Technician 2, Heidi Sanchez. Thank you all for all of your hard work, and it is an honor and privilege for me to work with the City Clerk Salazar and our amazing team. And now, please start the video. Thank you.
Hello, City of Paris. I am your City Clerk, Nancy Salazar, and today we are recognizing the hard work and dedication of the staff members in the City Clerk's office who help to keep our city running smoothly. Since incorporation in 1911, Paris has grown and developed into a thriving city with a rich history and diverse community. The City of Paris has had many dedicated city clerks throughout its history who have played a vital role in the city's development and historical record collection. Among our most valuable and precious artifacts, we find the first resolutions, handwritten minutes, ordinances, the key to the city, published books about our city, news journals, articles, and many more. Municipal clerks are often the first point of contact for residents who need city records such as resolutions, ordinances, minutes, and perform numerous tasks such as preparing agendas, recording documents, and providing election services. They work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that our local government functions effectively and efficiently. So this week, let's take a moment to say thank you to our city clerks team. Your hard work and dedication are truly appreciated, and we couldn't do it without you. Happy Municipal Clerks Week.
Test. Okay. Ms. Salazar, would you care to join us?
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and staff. Oh my goodness, it's already been, 12 years? Going on 13 years that I've been the elected city clerk. I don't want to get a little emotional here, but thank you to staff. As always, this proclamation always goes to them for their daily work. Couldn't have done it without them. So keep it short. I hope you guys like all your little goodies that the ladies put together, and thank you so much.
It's a revision. Ms. McClendon, did you want to say anything regarding your proclamation? No stress if you don't want to.
I just want to say thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council, and city staff. Families Achieving Success loves being a part of the City of Paris, and this is the beginning to a new journey, and we look forward to continuing to serve our community.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for our presentations. Item 7 is our Youth Advisory Committee communications, which will be given by Melanie Lopez, our Vice President.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, and city staff. My name is Melanie Lopez, and I am honored to serve as the Vice President of the Youth Advisory Committee, YAC. First, we are thrilled to announce that YAC will be assisting staff with the upcoming Breakfast with Bunny event on Saturday, April 12th. We are looking forward to contributing to its success. Following that, our next YC meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 15th at 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. here at the council chambers. In addition, we are excited to invite local youth to join us to our next Parks Cleanup event taking place on Saturday, April 26th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Mercado Park. This is a fantastic opportunity for students to earn some community service hours while giving back to our neighborhood. Lastly, we want to remind everyone that applications for the 2025-2026 YC term are now open and will remain available until Friday, May 30th, 2025. We encourage interested youth to apply and get involved. As always, YC encourages everyone to stay safe and stay connected. Be sure to follow us on social media at Paris YAC for updates and information about all our upcoming events. Thank you for your time and continued support. We appreciate your partnership in making our community a better place.
Melanie, what's the date for the park cleanup?
Saturday, April 26th at
Thank you.
8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Got it. Great. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8 is our public comment. This is the time when any member of the public may bring a matter to the attention to the mayor or the city council that is within our jurisdiction and not on our agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
Yes, Eileen Flores.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, and City staff. I'm Eileen Flores, Government Relations Manager from Southern California, Edison. SCE and the City of Paris have a long-standing partnership, and I want to thank the City Manager, the Assistant City Manager, Building and Safety Manager, and Council for working with us during January's Public Safety Power Shutoffs, also known as PSPS. The January PSPS event was the largest and most complex since the inception of SCE's PSPS in 2018. It was driven by the widespread extreme winds, highly flammable vegetation, low humidity, and extreme fire risk. We were faced with an extraordinary convergence of extreme weather conditions. We recognize the hardships customers faced when we must shut off power, which is why the decision to shut off power is never taken lightly and only used as a last resort to protect the public, the community, and our employees. PSPS is one of many tools that are part of our wildfire mitigation plan to reduce the risk of our equipment from being a source of ignition. While disruptive and often frustrating for customers, PSPS helps protect our communities by reducing the risk of catastrophic wildfires. We know the extended power outages from the major windstorms and wildfires were hardships. Many SCE customers across Southern California Edison were without power for days, which led to increased frustration. For the January event, there were over 600 circuits in scope for a PSPS, and over 350 were de-energized. We notified over 700,000 customers that they may experience a PSPS, and approximately more than 350,000 customers throughout 8 counties experienced a shutoff. For customers who were de-energized in January, we're sorry that your PSPS experience was made even more difficult when our communication tools did not function as they should have. We are constantly looking at ways to improve our wildfire mitigation plans, including how we implement PSPS. We encourage customers to prepare for emergencies that may impact power by looking into programs we offer, such as the Medical Baseline Program and the Free Battery Backup Program for qualifying customers. Also, in partnership with Inland Empire 211, residents can make an appointment with a 211 care coordinator to assist with preparing a plan for an emergency, including how to locate the nearest activated community resource center, transportation, lodging, and food resources. This information is available on SCE's and Inland SoCal's 211 websites. And thank you again to the City of Paris for working with us during the public safety power shutoffs.
Thank you, Ms. Flores.
Ashley Barton.
Hello, everybody. I started coming to city council meetings about a year ago. And just realized that because my first city council meeting here was at the very last time that we recognized our wonderful city clerks. So thank you guys again. So I had formally started Paris Pride Alliance, and I wanted to introduce you guys to the new Rise Paris Pride. So this also just kind of proves it that if you build it, they, them will come. I wanted to let you know about that we are open to the public with our monthly meetings at the library. This month, our meeting is going to be on April 26th at 2:30. It's going to be until 4:30. It's a queer safe space. and we also do some organizing. We also are really proud to announce and let you guys know that we're going to be representing the city of Paris in the Riverside Pride celebration. That's going to be on May 10th. So we're happy to represent our city in such a wonderful and beautiful celebration that is coming up. Lastly, I also want to thank Soulful Soil Farms for the amazing things that they do. Food distribution and mutual aid is really important, which brings me now to my comment, which is going to be, this is our mission statement as an introduction for Rise Paris Pride. So Rise Paris Pride, its revolutionary intercommunity support and empowerment, is a queer-led collective rooted in revolutionary love and the belief that radical change for progress begins locally in small groups. We serve the common people of Paris and her surrounding cities by creating a queer, safe meetup space, fostering a village support structure, and providing free markets and mutual aid, practices necessary for our shared future. Through learning events, direct action, and radical support, we empower our local queer community, knowing its liberation uplifts us all. Together, we build systems of care, because no one is free until we all are. Together, we rise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rob Mason.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, city staff. I'm Rob Mason, representing Paris Valley Chamber of Commerce. May I say the best chamber. I know that there's others out there, but I think ours works the best. Have a couple updates for us. We have a bunch of things that are going on. We entered Q2 going really, really fast. So we have, first of all, I want to say to Councilmember Vallejo, thank you very much. She was our breakfast speaker, and she did an outstanding job about a week ago, and we sure appreciate her coming and giving us an update and taking the time. And we hope to see her back again. April 15th, we have an opening with Raising Cane's, new to the city. They do have a coupon for that day for a two-piece, and so feel free to take advantage of it, get your free meal that day. Shortly after that, we have on the 22nd, Bomb Shelter. We'll be having lunch, and this is for members and non-members. So we want everyone to come out, have lunch. We want to have small business and support small businesses in the community, make sure that folks come out and get to know one another and spend a little time together over lunch. On the 23rd, we have Chase Bank has been doing an excellent job putting on financial workshops and working with entrepreneurs. So the next topics for them are thinking like an entrepreneur, establishing a foundation for business growth, developing agility and resilience, putting people first, and then keep pushing it. So that's for our small businesses and our entrepreneurs. And then we have a couple other things. Of course, on May 1st, we have the State of the City, which is probably our biggest event. We want to make sure that we've been getting the word out there. We look forward to seeing everyone that night. The mayor and staff, you guys all do a great job on that. So we prepare for that as well. Last couple things, we have Avanzando for our Spanish-speaking members. This program has grown tremendously, and it's very important for our community. So we're gonna they'll be having another couple of meetings coming up soon, and after that we have some other specialty things coming up. But we just want to say thank you to the mayor, the council members, and the city staff. You guys do a great job of supporting small business, and we sure appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is all.
Thank you. Okay, item 9 is approval of minutes. 9A is consideration to approve the minutes of the regular joint meeting held on March 25th, 2025 of the City Council and all the other entities as listed on our agenda. There are no comments or questions from the council. I'll entertain a motion to approve. You try it again. No, theirs is not. Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rabb, second by Councilwoman Nava. Please call the vote. I do a roll call.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Item 10 is our consent calendar items. We do have a revision that you all got a copy on the dais for item 10A, the revision of the Exhibit D of the professional services contract with STK. And I believe this was posted on the website as well. Thank you. All right, aside from that, council, anybody wishing to pull or anything for a separate vote or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, if I may pull 10D for questions.
B as in boy,
D as in David.
David. Anybody else? All right, looking for a motion on 10A, B, C.
Oh, D, I'm sorry. I thought she said D.
No, she said D, just A, B, and C. That was really short. All right, I have a motion by Councilman Corona, second by Mayor Pro Tem Rabb. Please call the vote.
Five oh, motion approved.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nava, item D.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last council meeting, I'd like to ask the applicant and staff if we've received any feedback from residents or any type of communication since then.
Hi, Councilwoman Nava. We haven't received any letters.
Okay, thank you. And given that there's a home right on the north of it, I had to go back and see what type of added safety measures were implemented, given how close it is. As a matter of fact, do you know how close it happens to be from the pumping to the nearest home? I went back and watched the planning commission, and there wasn't any type of, but it's extremely close. And then I went back and tried to find what type of safety measures were implemented, and I didn't see any type. And so my considerations are, what would happen if there was a leak or any type of explosion, given that we are working with diesel and, but is there any, I'm not sure who would be able to answer that question.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, staff. I believe after Planning Commission, we submitted an exhibit showing the distance between the fueling canopy and the house to the north. And it is further than the existing canopy to the existing house. I do not recall the numbers, but it was not as close as the existing house. I don't know if you're referring to the new project that's going to happen and the
yes.
house to the north.
Right, that's
There's
correct.
an 8-foot wall. And I believe at the last meeting, we had our Chevron people here, and they referred to both products that the odds of any explosions and leaks are not existing. And the same with the renewable diesel and any fuel. Nowadays, with the technology, if you go to any gas station, we get those accidents all the time where people filling gas or diesel, and they drive away because they're on the cell phone. There's a breakaway disconnect that disconnects immediately and does not allow any leaks.
Okay,
We cannot attach it back till we call AQMD and they send a certified technician to test it. So the odds of any leaks are really highly unlikely.
okay. And thank you for answering my question. And this question then is geared for fire. Are they on the same page? I'm not sure if they're aware that I'm addressing them in the back there. Is there any type of additional comments though that fire would like to add regarding this project? It's the addition to the Chevron. I know, and the reason why I'm asking, sorry to put you on the spot, is because I went back to the report and it mentioned that there was various missing, many items on that were not submitted by the applicant. So that leaves it up for question as far as the approval of this project, how they didn't submit the full requirements that were needed for fire. I'm not sure if you need some input as to what item I'm discussing.
Microphone, please.
Item D, yes.
item D, but your city fire marshal would be the one to ask those
Okay,
questions.
got it. Thank you. Appreciate
problem.
it.
I do want to reference, I don't believe our fire official was here, but
Okay.
it was routed to our fire marshal
Okay.
office and our fire department, and it addressed all their concerns in terms of the distance requirements.
Okay.
Just in terms of the reference, the distance from the property line, it should be approximately about 30 feet to 25 feet away from the property line, and then there's a house to the north. And that house looks like it's approximately another 40 feet away from the fire pumps,
Okay.
from the gas pump, sorry.
Okay. And then my last question is, what type of vehicles are we serving? I know we discussed this again. I just need confirmation. Is this vehicle, passenger? Is this semi-trucks?
This facility will service smaller vehicle and smaller trucks.
Okay.
Alternative fuel now does not exist, to my knowledge, for semis and big trucks.
But you're adding diesel to this facility as well? Is that my understanding?
There's renewable diesel,
Okay.
which there is a trend that some of the smaller vehicles will be switching to renewable diesel. I think we mentioned last time when Chevron was here that has less than 1% fossil fuel. Most vehicles that now the trucks do not have the capability to have the renewable diesel.
Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
And regarding the fire marshal during plan check, we will definitely submit prior plans and they go for plan check. Thank you.
Thank you. You may sit down. All right, if no one has any other further questions, I'm entertaining a motion to, entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilman Corona, second by Mayor Pro Tem Rab. Please call the vote.
Five oh, motion approved.
Thank you. All right. All right, so when we did our other voting, I only announced A, B, C. We actually had an E. So for the record, the first vote was for 10 A, B, C, and E. And the second vote was for D. Okay, good? Or should I do a separate vote, Ms. Sultani?
We didn't include.
You could include it in this.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Item 11, public hearings. 11A is consideration to adopt the first reading of proposed ordinance number next in order, amending Chapter 7.16 of the Paris Municipal Code to allow rate changes to trash collection and disposal to be made by by resolution and not by ordinance, and to adopt proposed resolution number next in order to adopt disposal rates and charges increases. This is going to be introduced by our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Ernie Reyna.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Just a little bit quick background on this. Proposition 218 requires that we hold a public hearing every 5 years when rates are being adjusted. In this case, it's been more than 5 years, so we do have a representative from CRNR. I believe Alex Brakovich is here, and he has a quick presentation he'd like to put together.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, City Staff. My name is Alex Brakovich. I'm with CRNR. I'm going to just go over a very brief PowerPoint presentation to describe what we're doing here tonight. The agenda on the PowerPoint is going to be a review of the 24-25 rate adjustment for commercial and roll-off only. CRNR has voluntarily frozen all rates for 2024-2025, fiscal year 2024-2025. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the Senate Bill 1383 procurement adjustment and what the next steps are in this process. So let's talk a little bit first about the 24-25 rate adjustment. All contractually allowed residential and commercial rate adjustments for 2024-2025 were not applied. We froze the rates for the City of Paris for both commercial and residential We could have applied for a CPI of 4.65%, and we decided not to do that. So there was no increase in the rates this year. Also, the County of Riverside did not increase the disposal rate as well. So nobody saw an increase in their bills. I also wanted to add that in the last 4 years, CR&R has waived the residential rate increase 3 times for a total of 12.71% in cumulative rate savings to the Paris residents. This adds up quite a bit over the period of time that the contract is in effect. And we're very, very happy to be able to do that. So let's talk a little bit about SB 1383, one of our favorite subjects. Part of 1383, there's a number of requirements, regulatory requirements. One of them is called procurement. And as you may remember, Senate Bill 1383 was passed in 2016. It's 128 pages of regulations addressing organics recycling. CR&R has implemented over 28 different requirements to keep the City of Paris in compliance with all these new regulations. Procurement is just one of those regulations, and it's one that needs a permanent solution. Procurement requires the City of Paris to procure or buy back a certain amount of compost each year. The city is required to meet a state-mandated procurement target each calendar year as well. This year, in 2025, the city's adjusted procurement target will be approximately 3,000 tons of compost and mulch. This is by far one of the most difficult and challenging requirements in 1383. This is required of all cities and counties in the state of California. And it's one of those things that cities are really, really challenged to deal with. So, as I mentioned, every city in California has 2 challenges when it comes to procurement. What do you do with all that 3,000 tons of compost and mulch? And how do you fund it? City can use it at their parks, their medians, maybe at giveaways, compost giveaways and other city projects. But the city must ensure that long-term markets for the material and long-term funding exists. CalRecycle, which is the state agency that mandates all these requirements, also requires annual reporting to monitor compliance with regulations. They come in every year and they do audits. So what is the solution? Well, CR&R is proposing a procurement solution for the city of Paris, where we will produce Title 14 compliant compost and mulch for the city of Paris using our state-of-the-art anaerobic digestion facility located right here in the city of Paris. We will market, transport, and deliver all the required compost and mulch to various end users. We will also maintain all the required annual reporting for state compliance purposes. And the city can use as much of that loose compost as they would like for their parks, their medians, their compost giveaways. Anything left over that the city cannot use, CR&R will be in charge of making sure that we find a home for that material. The funding will be provided by a one-time 1.7% adjustment to the commercial and roll-off rates only. Residential rates will not be impacted. This long-term solution allows the city to be in full compliance with all state regulations regarding Senate Bill 1383. So in terms of next steps, that's what we're here for tonight, is to hold a public hearing for the Prop 218 notice that went out, and for council to review and hopefully approve this process moving forward. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Alex. Councilor, may I have any quick questions before I open up the public hearing? All right. Let's see. Seeing none, we're going to open up the public hearing at 7:44. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak on this item?
Yes, sir. Ashley Barton.
Hello. So I came because I actually didn't understand what was happening. I really appreciate the presentation because it gives me a lot more information. Otherwise, I just got all these numbers in my mail. And there was an explanation, but I honestly, when I sat down after work at like 9:30, my brain wouldn't even absorb what was happening. So I really do appreciate freezing on residential rates. That's of course what I'm most concerned about. I just wanted to make a comment to express that concern, make sure that the residential rates stay frozen. We really cannot handle any kind of increases right now. The economy is absolute trash. I don't know how else to put it. And it seems like it's just tanking further. I don't understand what the commercial rates and how those are going to apply to like small businesses versus warehouses, because my personal opinion that the small businesses in the city, especially the ones that are run by residents of Paris, might not be able to hit these rates, especially within the economy that we're trying to struggle and survive through, as that we have allowed so many warehouses to come into our city. The warehouses with the most money and the most budget, I think, should be the one to cover these rates. It's the least that they could do for us as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
That is all.
All right, council, any comments, questions? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:46. I'll call for a motion on the resolution and the first reading of the ordinance. Excuse me, motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call the vote.
Five oh, motion approved.
Thank you. 11B is consideration to adopt proposed resolution number next in order to approve substantial amendment to the 2024-2029 five-year consolidated plan and the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual action plan to reprogram $162,344.70 of unspent funds from the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual action plan to create the fund two new and eligible activities. Put that in a Dr. Seuss book. This will be introduced by our Director of Economic Development and Housing, Ms. Michelle Ogawa.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'd like to introduce our Principal Management Analyst, Dr. Sarah Cortez de Pavon, to present this item.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and city staff. This item before you is for a substantial amendment to our five-year consolidated plan and one-year annual action plan. As you're aware, the city receives federal funding from HUD for our Community Development Block Grant Program. And in order to receive these funds, we are required to have a five-year consolidated plan and an annual action plan. Some background, the consolidated plan essentially is a five-year planning document. It identifies community development and housing needs and outlines the goals and objectives to meet those needs. The annual action plan is a one-year plan that provides a summary of how we're going to execute these goals and objectives. And for a substantial amendment, it is required to the consolidated plan when funds budgeted in the action plan will be moved from an eligible activity to another eligible activity in the amount greater than 50% of the receiving activity's allocation, or if the receiving activity does not currently exist in the action plan. And so this item is for the reprogramming of existing funds and the creation of two new programs, so that does constitute a substantial amendment. On June 11th of last year, City Council approved the 24-25 Annual Action Plan allocating funds for the Rental Security Deposit Program and the Downtown 5th Street Landscape Pedestrian Path at D Street project. The city must adhere to HUD's timeliness of expenditure regulation, which means that the city cannot have 1.5 times its recent allocation sitting in its HUD bank. and that equals to $1.3 million. HUD does conduct a check 60 days prior to the end of the program year, so May 1st, to make sure that we are not over our 1.5 timeliness of expenditures allocation. So we did run our report, and currently we are at 1.78, so we are not timely as of this moment. We will have to, we do need to draw down $246,616 before the May 1st check that HUD conducts. The CDBG committee met on February 19th, 2025 to review and discuss and provided the following recommendations on the proposed reallocations. One was to create the Emergency Rental Assistance Program for the 24-25 Annual Action Plan and fund the activity by reprogramming the 24-25 Security Deposit Assistance Program funds in the amount of $19,910.20. Second was to create the Downtown Sidewalk Improvement Project for the 24-25 Annual Action Plan and fund the project by reprogramming the 24-25 Downtown 5th Street Landscape Pedestrian Path at D Street project funds in the amount of $142,434.50. The Sidewalk Improvement Project consists of removal and replacement of existing damaged sidewalk, non-ADA compliant pedestrian ramps, curb ramps, and removal and replant of trees to prevent future damage to infrastructure on 6th Street between G and F Streets. The Emergency Rental Assistance Program is to prevent eviction and homelessness by offering financial support to families facing challenges in paying rent due to unforeseen circumstances or economic hardships. It is to provide a one-time financial assistance of up to 3 months of rental assistance to income-eligible renters who reside in the incorporated City of Paris limits. And due to the very limited budget, the program will be available by referral only from the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County. Staff recommends that City Council conduct a public hearing on the substantial amendment to the 24-29 Con Plan and 24-25 Annual Action Plan and adopt resolution next in order approving the substantial amendment to the 24-25 Con Plan and 24-25 Annual Action Plan, creating and funding these two new eligible activities. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Council, anybody have any quick questions or comments? Okay, we're going to open up the public hearing at 7:52. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Anybody wishing to speak on this item? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing at 7:52, and I'll call for a motion on the resolution. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rabb, second by Councilwoman Nava. Please call the vote.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you, and thank you, Doctor. 11C is consideration to adopt proposed resolution number next in order to approve the 2025-2026 Annual Action Plan preliminary recommendations for the Community Developed Block Grant CDBG program. And this will be introduced by our doctor again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Same background, we do receive funds from HUD, and in order to continue receiving these entitlement funds, we do have to have a 5-year comp plan and annual action plan. We're currently in our second year of our current consolidated plan, which is the 5-year planning document, and this is for the upcoming fiscal year annual action plan. The CDBG program is designed to assist in the development of viable communities and supporting projects that provide decent housing, sustain suitable living environments, and or expand economic opportunities to low and moderate income persons through projects such as housing, neighborhood and community services, infrastructure, economic development, and grant administration. HUD does provide a cap on how we spend our funds. So from our allocation, we can only spend up to 20% for planning and administration, up to 15% for public services, and the remainder can go towards non-public service projects. As part of the requirements that HUD places on us, we do have to do citizen participation. So the city did conduct some workshops. We held 4 community needs workshops, 1 youth meeting and 1 stakeholder meeting. Additionally, we did provide a virtual application workshop on January 16th at 2 p.m., and the recorded session was made available on our city website. And the application period ran from January 15th to February 7th. All workshops were advertised in the Paris Progress and La Opinion newspaper 30 days in advance. And as part of our outreach, we did conduct our annual community needs survey. These are some of the results. The survey was released on September 29th, 2024, and closed on December 31st. We received 182 paper surveys and 259 online surveys for a total of 441 surveys. This is a 9% increase from last year. These were some comments that were taken from the survey that residents did provide. Again, workshops, meetings, and the survey were advertised on all city social media platforms. Recommendations are based on the anticipated funding amount equal to the current program year of $886,118. HUD has not released their allocations for the upcoming program year. However, historically, they have released them between early May to mid-May. The CDBG committee met on February 19th to set preliminary funding recommendations. We did receive 13 applications, which does not include administration. 7 public service applications were received, 6 of which were returning applicants, and 6 non-public service applications received, 5 of which were returning applicants. All applications were reviewed on need and justification, project effectiveness, cost effectiveness, experience, and timeliness. Before you today are the recommended preliminary allocations. Please note that the full 15% of public service cap was not utilized, as the CDBG committee wished to fully allocate it once the final HUD allocations were received. But 99% of that cap was utilized. Staff recommendation is for City Council to conduct a public hearing on the 25-26 Annual Action Plan and adopt resolution next in order approving the Annual Action Plan with preliminary funding recommendations. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Doctor. Council, anybody have any quick questions, comments? Excuse me, we're going to open up the public hearing at 7:56. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
Yes, sir. Sharon Morris.
Hello, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council and staff, and Dr. Michelle. There are, on any given day, 6,000 children in foster care in Riverside County. You're laughing at my accent, aren't you? It's a good accent, though, isn't it? I sound very smart. Voices for Children is the court-appointed special advocate, or CASA, program. We recruit, train, and support very special community members who volunteer to be assigned by way of a court order to a child or a sibling set who find themselves in foster care by one of our 5 juvenile court judges. These volunteers visit with the children once per month. They talk to their school, their medical providers, family, caregivers, and the professionals working on the case to ensure that the children do not fall through the cracks of an already overburdened system. They ensure that the children have a chance to thrive rather than just exist in care. The CASA might be the only person in the child's life who stays with them through their case and offers consistency and a trusted adult in their corner. CASAs write report for the hearings for the judge that occur every 6 months. And one of our judges says that it is the social worker's report that paints a black and white outline of the child, but it is the CASA's report that colors it in. We have so far served 30 children who were abused, abandoned, or neglected and removed from their homes in the city of Paris so far this fiscal year. This is done at a cost of over $2,500 per child, as a paid professional member of staff supports each volunteer. There are many stories that I could share about the amazing work of a CASA, but today I want to tell you about Melissa and Raymond. He's from Paris. Melissa has been assigned to Raymond for almost 6 years. Raymond was removed from his mother due to abuse and neglect with his 2 sisters. His aunt decided to adopt the sisters, but not him. He has been in care since he was 8 years old. When Melissa first started, Raymond was 14. He would AWOL from every group home placement, get into fights at school, and he had no interest in participating in services. He did not trust anybody and made sure that Melissa knew that. Over time and with months of consistency, Raymond finally saved Melissa's phone number and began to let her into his life. Sorry. Melissa was able to encourage him to be the best version of himself. She instilled the idea that his situation was only temporary and that he was able to choose his own future. In the last year, Raymond has held.
Yes, that means your time is up. Thank you, and thank you for coming. Anybody else, Madam Clerk?
Tom Donahue.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, staff, and to the residents of the City of Paris. My name is Tom Donahue. I'm the Program Administrator for Family Service Association for their Senior Nutrition Program. I believe most of you know who Family Service is, but I'll give you a quick rundown of who we are. We're in our 71st year of serving the communities in Riverside and San Bernardino County, based in Moreno Valley. We operate everything from child development centers, which we have 10 in Riverside County. We are the collaborating, organizing group for the child abuse prevention in Riverside County. We have family counseling clinic programs, and we have senior housing in Jurupa Valley and the city of Riverside. In addition to our program where we provide meals at the Paris Senior Center and 9 other communities in Riverside County. We started out with a grant from the Junior League and expanded into more social service programs. Our funding comes in 3 primary buckets. One, from the federal government through the Older Americans Act, which is housed in the Housing and Human Services Department. Then it comes to the state California Department on Aging, where the state contributes funding for the programs. It then comes to what they call the AAA, the Area Agencies on Aging, which in Riverside County, as some of you on the council know, is our Office on Aging. And we are a contractor for the Office on Aging, providing the lunch program here at the Paris Senior Center. We average serving about 40 people lunch Monday through Friday and serving over 10,000 meals on an annual basis. Unduplicated, we will serve almost over 100 unique citizens in the city of Paris. Our funding is operating for residents 60 years of age, while HUD requires 62 years of age is all that we report to the department here in the city of Paris. Your funding is even more important these days. When we started our new 4-year contract, we were advised by the Office on Aging that due to budget cutbacks, that 30% of our funding that we received from the prior year was not going to be available. That means that our community support becomes more and more important. About 85% comes from our main contract, and the remaining 15% comes from about 7% from client contributions and the balance from our community partners. We are proud to say, and thanks you to the City of Paris for your long-time support for our program at the community center. Because the meal is not the most important thing. We're there to end isolation, provide a social environment, and connect them to service.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you coming in. Anybody else?
That is all.
All right, we're going to close the public hearing at 8:04. I'll call for a motion on the resolution. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rabb, second by Councilwoman Nava. Please call the vote.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. 11D is consideration to introduce the first reading of proposed ordinance number next in order regarding zoning code text amendment 25-05059, a proposal to amend Chapter 19.75 of the Paris Municipal Code to allow the off-site freeway signs associated with commercial shopping centers. And this is going to be introduced by our Director of Development Services, Mr. Kenneth Fung.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. This item will be presented by our Principal Planner, Rafael Garcia.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, good to be before you once again. The item before you tonight is a zoning code text amendment, number 25-05059. As you indicated, a proposal to amend Chapter 1975 of the Paris Municipal Code to allow off-site freeway signs associated with commercial shopping centers. Now, staff has been working on developing a policy framework after receiving direction from the City Council on January 14, 2025. At that point, council directed staff to explore potential options that could be incorporated into the sign ordinance and to the municipal code overall in order to potentially allow additional signage flexibility for commercial shopping centers and for the business community. As part of that process, staff was able to develop a policy framework that ended up resulting in a draft ordinance that went before the Planning Commission for consideration. On March 19, 2025, the item went before the Planning Commission for consideration. They reviewed the item, conducted a public hearing, and took in public testimony. They also provided some direction, but overall, they were supportive of the concept. They were supportive of a lot of the rules and regulations that would inject additional flexibility that would allow businesses to have off-site freeway signage associated with their business in order to enhance visibility adjacent to freeways. And they were also supportive of the provisions that were included in order to maintain some type of regulation over these signs that would be located off-site. An example of something like this would be the Paris de Plaza, which as a result of topography and a wide variety of other factors, they could potentially take advantage of doing off-site advertising on the parcel there that's outlined with the blue demarcation. So currently, our code does have provisions for freeway signage, but those signs must be located on-site. The regulations that are before you tonight would allow the signage to be located off-site on an adjacent parcel. Now, as part of this, staff prepared some development standards that went before the Planning Commission, and as part of that, there's some development standards that have been incorporated into the ordinance that's before you tonight. First, any business wanting to take advantage of this additional flexibility would have to be a minimum of 5-acre scenario, and it would have to be a commercial shopping center. The location of the sign, would have to be on a parcel that is commercially zoned and adjacent to a freeway right-of-way and within 150 feet of a commercial shopping center. The number of signs overall would be limited to one. The city logo would have to be incorporated as part of the overall sign design, and the sign height would be limited to 50 feet, and the sign area would vary between 100 and 150 square feet, depending on whether they propose a single-tenant sign or a multi-tenant panel sign. The sign would be allowed, as previously indicated, as a single-tenant sign, so one sign with one panel, or one sign with multiple panels. The sign would be limited to static signage. No digital signage would be allowed. And the off-site sign would have to be architecturally compatible and harmonious with the design and architecture of the existing commercial shopping center. Overall, one of the additional regulations that the Planning Commission suggested would be to require a distance requirement between off-site freeway signs in case there's commercial shopping centers that are adjacent to each other. And that requirement would be 500 feet in order to limit any proliferation of such signage. The permitting process would be a conditional use permit, which would require a public hearing that would be noticed before the Planning Commission. Any deviation from the standards that I just outlined would require some type of approval, either a minor adjustment or a variance that would have to be approved. With that said, the Planning Commission did approve a resolution recommending that the City Council find that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15061B3 of the CEQA guidelines, and introduce the ordinance approving zoning code text amendment 25-05059 to update Chapter 1975 to allow off-site freeway signage associated with commercial shopping centers. That concludes the presentation. Staff is available to answer any questions that members of the City Council or the public may have pertaining to this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafael. Council, may I have any quick questions, comments?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilman Corona?
I wonder if you could go back to the standards. Okay. And then can you go to the next one? Okay, so I guess it'd be closest to number 8 with sign design and materials. But nowhere in there do I really see anything about the quality of the panels that they use. I'm referring to one specific one, but I'm sure there's others in the city that I wonder if we could put something in there about the standards that the panels should not fade within or discolor within 10 years, and then when they start to fade and discolor, that they should be replaced.
I'm actually glad that the City Council is bringing that up, because actually staff took a step, went beyond, above and beyond that in order to address that. It didn't show up as read on the language that's provided to you on page 23 of 24 of the
Staff report.
language,
Okay.
correct? As part of subsection 2 on the top of the page, there is specific wording where staff included that under the maintenance section, that they needed to address in order to maintain the signs and to prevent specifically any discoloration and fading.
Gotcha.
On top of that, as a policy, we have been specifically looking at signs and attempting to work with developers and sign contractors to attempt to get better materials that are going to be more resistant to any fading or any type of deterioration.
Great. Okay, I did read that part, but I just want to see it in this part just so that we're kind of clear on it, so that it's not like a blanket thing. But I definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, and there's no time limit. This is just any time that thing starts to fade, they need to fix it.
Correct.
Because the classic example that we keep bringing up, myself and Councilwoman Nava, is when they redid the Plaza de Paris, formerly Paris Plaza, that brand-new pylon, I mean, that's only been there, what, 2-3 years, and it's already, I mean, it's deplorable, and code is working on them, and I've even called the owner of that shopping center. But anyway, anything else? So go back to the first set. I have an issue with number 4, city logo. That is no requirement now throughout any signage throughout our city that we have to put a city logo on a private business, and I don't know where that came from. I want this sign should be maximized for the business. We're not boasting Paris. We want to promote our businesses. So in my opinion, if the council does not disagree, I'd like to remove that from this list. Yep. That's 3 yeahs, 4 yeahs.
Open up public comment first.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
Okay, can I ask, like, when did we start putting the logo and why? Do we have a?
Well, a lot of the shopping centers in the city, quite a bit of them do have a logo on the top of the sign, but we don't have to have them. But as kind of a practice, we've been having a lot of those shopping centers do have that logo on top.
Yeah, I've probably been noticing the last, few years.
Well, I know
for sure.
Paris Crossings in your neighborhood has it.
The one on 4th Street with the digital sign, that one also has.
Yeah, well, that's
it.
not even our sign, though. That's Lamar's.
Yeah, but it has.
And I get that, but we're not talking about a massive sign here. We're talking smaller versions, and I'm trying to get these businesses promoted, and I'm not going to worry about having a city logo on there. I want to promote the business.
If the city council wishes, it can be removed from the language.
Yeah.
I know, like, as Kenneth indicated, sometime with discretionary projects, we've required it just because a lot of cities like the identification so that when drivers are driving by, they know that they're in the city of Paris. But that can be removed. The other thing is that
just for this specifically, this is an amendment to specify an off-site signage.
Correct.
What you guys do at the actual plazas or shopping center, I get that. I'm not trying to modify that. I'm just saying the businesses came to me. I'm not sure about Ms. Nava, but I'm the one that came to Kenneth about this. We're trying to get some of these poor businesses that are not being recognized, and Caltrans prohibits us putting signs on their freeway because we're not in a rural area. So the next option was to try to get some additional signage along the freeways, and that one, if we can omit that requirement, that'd be fine.
If the city council wishes, you guys can make a motion to redact that language, and as part of the second reading, we can bring back the item without that language included.
Gotcha. All right, if no one has anything real quick, I'm going to open up the public hearing at 8:15 p.m. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Anybody wishing to speak on this item? I'm going to close the public hearing at 8:15. And at this time, if there's no additional comments or questions, I'll call for a motion on the first reading. And just the requirements would be to omit number 4, if the person who motions, and also Mr. Corona would like to see on this list of items, the issue about the signage, whatever you guys have on that staff report.
Okay, we'll elaborate further.
Right. All right, so we have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Mayor Pro Tem Rab. Please call the vote.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Item 12, business items. 12A is consideration to receive and file the annual public safety update provided by Riverside County Sheriff's Department. It's been introduced by our Assistant City Manager, Ernie Reyna.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Just as a way of background, as Mayor mentioned, on an annual basis, we do have our public safety team come out and give updates. This month around, we're going to have our Sheriff's Department provide an update, and next month, you'll have an update from the Fire Department. So I'm going to go and turn it over to Captain Lamb, and he'll give you the update for this month, for this year. Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. Captain Kevin Lamb of the Paris Station. Just give you a brief overview of what we did in 2024. A couple topics we'll look at is the current contract we have with the City of Paris, calls for service, response times, some things we're doing out in the community and what we see going forward in 25, 26. So currently, as the contract rate calls for, we end up with 77 sworn deputies for the City of Paris, 37 non-sworn. That's office staff, community services, and whatnot, for a total of 113 staff for the city. The contract is 170 hours per day. For 2024, we had 50,842 reported incidents to us. Current budget for 24-25 is just over $25 million. So the current contract levels we have for the station, for the City of Paris, we have 2 dedicated sergeants. That's a traffic sergeant and a special team sergeant. 3 dedicated accident investigators, one of them being our commercial enforcement guy, primarily up there on Ramona Expressway. 5 dedicated motorcycle deputies. That was 4, and we increased it to 5 last July with your approval, so I appreciate that. 4 dedicated special teams bodies, 4 dedicated problem-oriented policing, crime prevention deputy, and a homeless outreach deputy. So last year, 50,842 calls for service. As you can see, it's kind of declined over the last 2 years. It equates to about 6 calls a day. So although it looks like a lot, it's only averaging 6 calls a day. So the men and women are doing good work out there, being proactive instead of reactive to quell some of the crime going on out there. Response times, so when calls come in from dispatch to us, they're prioritized, one being life and death emergency situation, all the way down to a priority 4, which is I woke up this morning and my car was broken into last night. So with we tend to look at the priority 1s and our responses to those, and we're kind of still held steady at around just over 6 minutes, and that's from the time that our dispatcher is taking the call until our deputy is on scene at the call. So priority 1 is just over 6 minutes. So our community services, we kind of work in conjunction with our homeless outreach team. So there's 2 deputies and a community service officer. And so they're out there every week working with the homeless, working with CityNet, working with Code, and our community service officer. She's the one that's, actively putting on all these events throughout the year for our station in the community. So with our crime prevention, we partner with CityNet on a daily basis. We have our business partners, work with the chamber quite often, code enforcement on a daily basis, I would say. We still get out there with our special enforcement, problem-oriented policing team with the parks, making sure they're safe. Our off-road vehicle enforcement, kind of seen a decline in that this year. Shot spotter, flock safety, which was a couple of the big things we did. Shop with a Cop in December for the holidays. So it's probably one of our favorite events for the year, to get the kids out there, do some nice Christmas shopping. National Night Out at the park here was a good success. They had breakfast with the Cop, and just our continuing relations building within the community that we do throughout the year. Our volunteer program, we have 22 current volunteers and 8 mounted posse. These guys are at the station every day. They're out on the streets patrolling, kind of extra eyes and ears for us. And they also help out at our various events with traffic control and just representing the city of Paris and the sheriff's department all at the same time. Our explorers, we have 30 explorers. Last year was a very productive year for our explorers. We attended competitions in the city of Riverside, Las Vegas, and in Arizona. They took first place overall Explorer Post in Las Vegas last year, and we also won several awards, top team in Arizona as well. So our problem-oriented policing team, 8 dedicated deputies and a sergeant. They're out there day to day, targeting the ongoing issues throughout the community. They don't handle calls for service per se like the patrol deputies do, so they're able to give it the extra time for the nuisance houses, working with Code on problem businesses and so forth. Our traffic guys, 5 motors, 2 accident investigators, our commercial guy, traffic CSO, and 1 sergeant. So they're, again, out there every day. City drones. We have 2 drones that the deputies utilize on a daily basis. Primarily when they respond to calls, somebody runs from them, we can immediately shoot the drone up, get overhead view if the helicopter's not available. It's great assistance for us when we do our off-road vehicle enforcement, because we can just throw the drone up there and track them. We've got 12 pilots. You actually have to take a test through the FFA or the FAA and get a pilot's license to operate these. So we've got 12 of those, and hopefully at least double that here in the next year. Still continue to use ShotSpotter. Last year, we only had 209 calls as compared to 2023, when we had 365. So I think the residents out there that are shooting off their guns are being made aware of the system we have out there, and because that's a huge decrease. So it's working. We made 16 arrests off it last year, and hopefully going forward with more technology that I'd like to see through the department, it'll increase the arrests out of that. Some events we attended. That's not homeless outreach right there, the picture on the left. It's an event we attended. So again, we still continue with the off-road vehicle enforcement. We had 202 calls for service as opposed to 255 in 2023, so we've seen that decrease. Homeless outreach, they had 707 outreach calls. 75 subjects were connected to services, and over 100 were arrested. Code enforcement, we continue to work with code enforcement on a daily basis, especially with the new ordinance, with the camping ordinance, so that'll be a big thing coming up, working with them in that. Traffic safety, OTS, Office of Traffic Safety, continues to fund operations for traffic with DUI checkpoints, click it or ticket operations, DUI saturations, and commercial enforcement. So moving forward, 25, 2026, we currently have 104 flock cameras. I'd like to see that increase a little bit on some of the areas that don't have much coverage. And drones. So recently, we did a presentation to the Public Safety Committee as far as drones for first responders. It's kind of like the wave of the future for law enforcement for several cities in the state. So we're looking to potentially have this program here in the city of Paris, and it would be the first city in Riverside County that would have this. So that's kind of what we're looking for moving forward. What it is we would have like a drone docked at the station, and instead of having a helicopter respond or whatever, we can immediately just dispatch this drone to the location. So it'd be, we could integrate it with our flock cameras for stolen vehicles, and also get it integrated with the shot spotter, so that when the shots go off, I could probably have a drone overhead in about a minute anywhere in the city. So it'll be quick eyes on. So looking at potentially doing that in the future. And that's all I got. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief. Council, do you have any questions, comments? All right, I'm going to open up, any requests to speak from our public?
No, sir.
All right, excellent presentation. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, item B is consideration and discussion of the Industrial Good Neighbor Guidelines comparison with Assembly Bill 98. This will be introduced by our Director of Development Services, Kenneth Fung.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. This item will be presented by our Planning Manager, Patricia Brenes.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, and city staff. The item before you today is a request from this council to review the Good Neighbor Guidelines in light of the approval of the Assembly Bill 98, which provides regulations for industrial uses. Staff has reviewed the Good Neighbor Guidelines in relation to AB 98, and overall, the Good Neighbor Guidelines align with the standards for AB 98, but in some instances, it's a little more stringent, and in others, it's a little less stringent than ABA 98. The main difference between the two is that the Good Neighbor Guidelines do not include provisions for projects that involve rezoning. So following is a comparison highlighting AB 98 standards and the Good Neighbor Guidelines. I will go ahead and summarize. I'm not going to go into much detail, but the main items that are equivalent to between the Good Neighbor Guidelines and AB 98 are related to 300-foot separation from loading bays to sensitive receptors, locating access points and circulation away from sensitive receptors, ensuring truck traffic impacts the least number of sensitive receptors, and also the Good Neighbor Guidelines are, in some instances, are more stringent than AB 98 with standards related to buffering and screening the loading bays, which would require taller screening walls. In the case of the Good Neighbor Guidelines, it's 14 feet in height, and landscape berming. The Good Neighbor Guidelines also require larger sized trees planted closer together, and also requires locating entry gates to allow for longer stacking lanes, which are, these three specific policies are more stringent than the ones found in Assembly Bill 98. The Good Neighbor Guidelines are, in some instances, less stringent than AB 98, with standards related primarily to projects that require rezoning. As previously stated, the Good Neighbor Guidelines do not address rezoning of properties. For instance, the AB 98 requires 500-foot separation between sensory receptors and loading bays, we in our Good Neighbor Guidelines require 300-foot separation. AB 98 requires a 100-foot landscape buffer for projects that require rezoning, and a 50-foot landscape buffer for projects in industrially zoned properties. We required a buffer of 30 feet. The AB 98 also requires housing replacement if demolished to facilitate an industrial project. We do not include replacement of housing in our Good Neighbor Guidelines. For the record, staff received a letter from Paris Neighbors in Action Team. The letter praises the city of Paris for taking the lead on doing the best for the Paris community, and also points out that it provides a link for documents from other jurisdictions related to Good Neighbor Guidelines, and also points out some new guidelines that the city of Riverside will be including in the updated Good Neighbor Guidelines for their Good Neighbor Guidelines. So that has been distributed for your consideration. So with that, staff recommends that the City Council discuss and provide direction regarding changes to the Good Neighbor Guidelines in relation to Assembly Bill 98. And that concludes staff presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Councilor, anybody have any questions or comments?
Yes, I wanted to go back a couple slides to the, I think, number 11, the housing. So it says on number 11, the demolition of housing units occupied within the last 10 plus years requires 2-to-1 replacement and 12 months rent. We currently don't have anything like that for a city?
Not in the Good Neighbor Guidelines.
Okay, so we're not even following, in this aspect, we're not following AB 98.
This is completely new, and I don't know if you remember when we came forward with the provisions for the city's Good Neighbor Guidelines. We looked at other jurisdictions nearby, and none of them included this provision. So this is something new that the state is still working on, and I want to say massaging or coming up with the specifics on how this can take place.
Okay, thank you for now.
Anybody else? Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak from the public?
No, sir.
All right, still time for deliberation or provide direction as a staff? Sure, Councilman Corona.
We did get an email from Mr. Carbajal and also the Paris Neighbors in Action, and I definitely want to thank them because I had no idea. I had no idea that Riverside kind of looked into this. But what they did was more of a, if I can get the wording right, it was a industrial development regulations. So how is that different from guidelines? Because I feel like guidelines is like, it's nice to follow, but you don't need to. You could override it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Councilmember Corona, yes, and I haven't, this is the first time I've not looked thoroughly the Riverside link. However, it appears to be they did do a code amendment where they did include him as a code requirement in their zoning code, which is different than a guideline. So if it's in the code, in order to make an exception, you'll need like a variance, which is a more formal process. You have to make findings, as opposed to a guideline. You can make exceptions on a case-by-case basis, but not as formal. So it does appear that they did incorporate them more as a code amendment rather than just guidelines. But it looks like they still have some guidelines, and some of those made it into the code. So we can take a look at that closer and see which ones made it into the code, which ones are left as guidelines. But it does appear they did do a code amendment to make them part of the code as a requirement.
Okay, and seeing how we're not in compliance with AB 98, is AB 98, is that a guideline, or is that something we have to follow?
That is a regulation, it's a
That's the
requirement.
regulations?
Yes.
So as of right now, we're not in compliance with AB 98?
I would, there's a clause I want to say, that AB 98 puts a stipulation date. So
Okay.
these regulations only apply if the application is not submitted by September, I think, 28th or 30th of last year. So
Of last year?
yeah, so if any
Okay.
project came in after, before, it wouldn't be required technically.
Okay, thank you. Well, let me get back to, I guess, is it time for comments, Mayor, or is that?
This is it.
Okay, all right. I definitely feel like as our city is limited, becoming more and more limited on viable space for industrial warehousing, and by having far more than our fair share of warehousing in our city, I do think it's important that our industrial warehouse projects be the absolute best, and we also hold them to the highest standard. And so I don't think AB 98 should be our standard. I think AB 98 is the bare minimum, and they had to fight to get those minimums. And I think here in the city where we have so many warehouses, and our residents can see it all the time. They see it on our roads when they drive on the 215, and in the condition of 215, and also in the traffic of 215, they see it. We shouldn't set AB 98 as our bare minimum. And so I do think that we need to go far beyond and get the highest standards in the whole region. So I was actually upset to see that Riverside is by far, they have far more stricter standards than we do. And they're right down the road. I know our city manager's right from Riverside too, so I think she would kind of appreciate competing with them too. But they just did it in February. And I want to thank once again, Mr. Carba, because I had no idea. Our staff didn't even know about this. So I really do appreciate that. I looked at there. One thing that we do have that always kind of bothered me is that we do 300 feet from the door docks. So the door docks could be on the other side of the building, but right in front of you, 10 feet away, in your backyard, you could have the 60-foot high wall of a warehouse just right there. And for some of the residents, I mean, it's detrimental. They lose their view, they lose their quality of life. What Riverside does is they base it on the size of the square footage of their warehouses. So actually, for a 10,000 square foot, they actually reduce it to 200 feet away from sensitive receptors. For 100,000 square feet, it's at 800. And then for anything bigger than 400,000 square feet, it's at 1,500 feet away. Also, what they don't allow is that warehouses have to be in general industrial. So this it's light industrial or BPO or this, it has to be in general industrial. So they're very, very clear on where it could be. At the same time, they also identify and define exactly what a sensitive receptor is. So do we have that defined?
We do it in our industrial good neighbor guidelines. We do have a definition.
Okay,
Schools,
and what would that be? What are the actual? What are all those?
schools, residential areas, park, churches. So we have it in our policy, but
Okay.
but it's-
Hospitals and daycare facilities.
I can find
Yes.
it, but yeah.
Okay, that's also clearly
Yeah, we
defined
have
in there.
I'm
Okay.
sorry to interrupt,
No,
Kenneth.
go ahead.
We do have a very specific definition in our Good Neighbor Guidelines that
Okay.
includes nursing homes, hospitals, public spaces where residents are most likely to spend time. That includes playgrounds, daycare, community, residential communities, schools, parks.
Okay.
So it's
So
pretty
it
specific.
sounds very familiar if those that recall that were here on the council at the time when we did the cannabis and we set a distance, and it wasn't from the front door, it was from the property line, and I think at that time it was 1,000 feet. We're talking about larger facilities as well too, and then at the same time too, if we could look into. Are we just getting direction, or are we voting on? Direction, okay, because I want to make that clear. Okay, if we could also look into making this code, because the guideline is nice to follow, right? I do understand the codes could be, we could go against the code. We've done it plenty of times in our city, right? We do have our general plan, but we've kind of ignored that many times. And I think we do need to have, I know that might be coming back to us in the future, but if we could have that in code so that way it's kind of more solidified. And it's no confusion. All the developers know exactly what to do, because I think it's important that we set these guidelines as we seem to be kind of running out of space, right? If you're running out of general industrial area, it's going to get closer and closer to sensitive receptors, which we've been seeing that the last 8 years that I've been on here. So we got to look at making that code. But that's all the comments I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think once we run out of space for warehouses, then that's it, I would assume. Anybody else?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment.
Councilman Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I'd like to thank staff for providing this chart. It was very good. Also like to thank Paris Neighbors in Action for bringing the Riverside ordinance to our attention, or the code revision to our attention. I think expanding the distance from sensitive receptors to the warehousing is important. I think size does matter on that. I would just be very cognizant. I think a lot of the issues that were brought up earlier are going to I think the development of a lot of the warehouses is going to be slowing down in the next year. I can just see what happened in the last week if things hold up. But I do think that we should increase the distance from the sensitive receptors all to the actual warehouse, not just the dock doors. And I think size does matter. It depends if you have a 100,000 square foot industrial building versus a 400,000 or 500,000 square foot industrial building. So that would something I'd be interested in looking at as well.
All right, anybody else? Good question. Councilman Corona.
So I did bring up that Riverside for 10,000 square foot or less, I had 200. Are they allowed to do that? Is that, I mean, if it's a 10,000 square foot warehouse, right? Smaller, but are they allowed to reduce the distance to 200? Is AB 98? Does that limit it to the size or just any warehouse?
I don't think AB 98 referenced the square footage that Riverside has. Riverside is, based on what I can see so far, we just found out literally today, so we need time to look through it.
Okay.
And figure out, but typically, if you have an under distance, you have to do a variance application. That's the only way you can go. If it's prescriptive in the code, you have to apply for a variance or some other modification process.
Okay. So, I mean, a 10,000 square foot facility is obviously going to be smaller. It's a kind of your growing business. And I definitely agree that we shouldn't have the same strictness when it comes to larger ones. But do they still have to? Does a 10,000 square foot facility still have to comply with the 300-foot distance? Is that
typically not? Usually the truck doors that you see for a warehouse, typically they get up to like 50 or larger, 50,000 square foot or larger. Okay. The smaller ones, they are your typical, like for the small, like, I don't know, what you want to call it, box truck. They're not your typical semi. So typically those are not, they don't have the typical truck
Or like a
door.
BPO.
Yeah.
right?
You get
So,
down to 10,000.
I mean, but the guidelines, right? Are they still in compliance with AB 98? Does AB 98 set a stand? Like I've read it a little bit, but I haven't went in detail about it. But does AB 98 say all warehouses have to be 300 feet from sensitive receptors from their door docks?
If I may, so the AB 98 refers to distribution large warehousing.
Okay.
So there's two different things. So when you have a distribution center, you have loading docks. For smaller manufacturing, 10,000 square feet, you're not going to have cross docks. You're going to have a roll-up door. So those are much smaller. So maybe we can include those type of definitions into the code to differentiate those. Those are things we can certainly look into. And then we'll take a closer look at how Riverside set it up as well.
Okay, great. And then, being now that we also had a celebration for Arbor Day, and we are now a tree city, green city, USA, Tree City USA, right? I think it's important that we kind of hold on to that title and that we go above and beyond. And I know right now we have 2,500, but maybe we look into seeing how we don't have that much more space left. So I mean, you get one that's 100,000 square foot. It's 100 trees, right? If we did 1,000, right? So that might be something to consider too. Being that we are a Tree City USA. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just would like to mention that I agree with Council Members Corona and Rab. I think that sensitive receptors is very important. And I really want to look to more of the 1,000 range as far as we possibly can. I do want to mostly follow the city of
1,000-foot range for what?
for to the loading docks. Wait, to the house, to the front door, to where. Yes, exactly.
We didn't hear what you said.
Property lines.
Property lines, yeah. And what I also want to include is I want to more follow through what the city of Riverside is comparing because they seem to be following more stricter rules as compared to AB 98. That's something that I really want to focus on. Another thing that I want to focus on is can we also put on the guidelines like having more trees and green scenery, but can we put more like native plants or native trees so then it can be geared towards more from where our culture is from? Because I feel like if we add those two, it would add more culture and character to our city. A question that I had from the Paris Neighbors in Action that anyone can answer to is In the email, it says number 5, to introduce green building and on-site renewable energy requirements. Can someone expand on that more for me?
Typically, those associated with the LEED certification for the building, so such as solar, just renewable energy, so things of that nature. Just plug it instead of having the trucks parked. They have to turn it off. They can, or if they have electric semis, they can plug it in if they're like a cold storage. So those are the things that you can incorporate.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because that's something that I really want to get into. I want to get more into renewable energy, more environmental friendly laws, because that's where the world is going, and that's something that we should really be focusing on. Solar panels is a huge must because they're just putting it in everywhere. Another thing that I want to know is I know a lot of warehouse developers aren't really coming this way, but I feel like we have to implement it now, because then if we don't, then some are going to come back and then they're going to try to find ways to get into. So I believe that if we start now, and then if we make sure that these guidelines are set in stone and it becomes to code, then I think we can really, really move forward permanently. So then we can have all these codes in order. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right,
Go ahead. if you want.
Councilman Carn, go ahead.
Yeah. So I feel like as we're gonna kind of create the distance, the warehouses are gonna tend to get smaller. So we might also have to look into zoning for smaller scale warehouses as well too. So yeah, I think if we could kind of bring some items on that. Yeah, I don't have specifics right now, but I think we do need to limit the size so we don't see these mega giant warehouses that our city used to see and that other cities are seeing, and that possibly they want to replicate again.
May I ask a question on that? You mean just saying like any warehouse over, say, 600,000 square feet? No? Or
Yeah, I'm thinking something like that if we limit it. So if we get,
my issue with that is that a lot of the point of sale warehousing are the mega warehousing. And those are the warehousing are bringing the funding into the city, that are keeping the city in the black, that are paying for all these great programs that we're having. I know NAIOP has been pretty clear on that. I mean, I know they have their position, but they said, if you look around, that the warehouses with the lease signs are the 250,000 square foot one, 300,000 square foot one. The mega ones, as much as eyesore they are the ones bringing the income into the city that allow us to do all these great things, allow us to hire all these people. The Home Depot Fulfillment Center, the Wayfair Fulfillment Center. I think we're kind of putting handcuffs on us at a critical juncture, because I do believe that we are headed into a massive recession, starting tomorrow, actually, with the tariffs. I think that might be a bridge too far, at least for me at the moment. Just saying like, hey, we're just not going to, what if we get one that's 1.3 million, but it's like a point of sale warehouse where we can actually get a lot of money to keep the city in the black?
right, but I mean, I'm sure we're all aware that the point of sale, we're going to hit a road where we're not going to get the same point of sales tax that we were receiving in the past. And I think we're kind of heading into a direction where we're kind of limited on space. We're seeing the developers. I mean, with the last meeting, they were here, saying, hey, don't take this of our truck route because this is going to be a future warehouse. Well, it's not even zoned for that. So I mean, it's right next to homes and stuff. Well, I won't get into that because that's a future thing. But yeah. So I'm not sure on specifics yet, but I mean, we might have to limit it. Might be 600, might be 500, maybe we limit it to 1 million. I mean, I think 500 is.
Well, let's just agree to look into it. How's
Yeah,
that?
we just look into
I'm not going to specify numbers yet.
Gotcha.
They can bring it back
Yeah.
for discussion. The only last thing I'd like to add is I agree with the notification standards being increased from 300 feet. A football field is 360 feet, so we're only going out one football field basically on notifications of projects. And I'm not just, so I'm not saying we got to go to 1,000 feet, but I at least like to look into doubling it to 600 feet. And when we say feet, when we mention that, is that radius?
Yes.
Surrounding the property?
Yeah. And right now it's 500 feet.
Oh, I thought we only had to go 300.
300 for any other project, but for industrial uses, according to the Good Neighbor guidelines, it's 500 feet.
Oh, so that's why they're going to 1,000, they're doubling. So let's double it to 1,000, like I said the first time. Okay? All right. I think we've got enough homework for now.
Thank you.
Did I ask for public comment yet? We've been talking, yes, I did, huh? Okay. All right. Any point of clarification? Okay, very good. All right, moving on to item 13, council communications. Get back to my notes. Councilwoman Vallejo.
Yes. First, I would just like to say thank you to the Paris Valley Chamber for inviting me to the Good Morning, what is it? Good Morning Paris? Is it?
Yeah, Good Morning, Paris.
Yeah, the Good Morning Paris event. That was actually a very great event for me to speak with a lot of small business owners. And the cool thing is they had a lot of small businesses from Murrieta come out, and I think that's actually pretty good to see how far that they would come here for us. And I also would like to note that in my presentation, I spoke the power of partnerships. Just the more that we speak together, the more that we have meetings and talk about how important partnerships are and how strong they can get is very important, and it's very useful. When I spoke about that, I had a few people who had their own businesses, but they were telling me the side businesses that they had. And I thought that was really great to hear that they had an interest in Paris, and hopefully they can come to Paris with many different ideas. So the more we partner with small businesses, the more that we can really get somewhere and serve our community. Another thing that I wanted to mention is I attended the Pinacati Art Show contest, and that was actually a very, very great event. There were many dignitaries there too, and we saw a lot of the student projects, and it did make me wonder if there's any way that those students who created those art pieces, can we somehow display them at an event? Or can we create an art show of our own? Because since this city is very focused on public art, I think that's a great way to showcase our local students here who create art pieces. So if we can maybe implement it to another city event that we already have, I think that would really be beneficial, so then students can feel proud and happy that they created these art pieces. Another question that I actually had with staff is I've had a few residents come to me that I know that the city council meetings are only streamed on Facebook, but are they streamed in like Instagram and TikTok or something, or YouTube? Okay, like if we can maybe somehow find it like an easier way for them to just see it, like I guess always put it on our stories and like repost it, but like online. I think that would really help, because I feel like since a lot of people never really know what we're doing, I think it's always a great focus for us as a city to be well aware and just give them the easiest access to view our council meetings, and then also to have those updates for the city council meetings. I'm waiting for those because I think those are very important. And if we can have those city council meetings live, but more accessible, like if we post it on Instagram and like repost it, I think that can really help the city become more informed on what we have been doing. But other than that, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Corona?
Thank you, Mayor. Over the weekend, I attended with my colleagues. We were at the 5K run. It was a fun run. I think the biggest turnout we've had so far. And I want to make it clear, it wasn't just us, right? The Paris Elementary School District participated in that, and along with the Paris High School, had the tot trot. Just a wonderful turnout, wonderful event. I want us to give a special thank you to our staff for organizing that. I've said it before, the health fair is probably one of my favorite events, because we're not celebrating a holiday. It's not some special event. It's for health, right? And we get so much turnout, and at the same time, it's all the staff, working together and helping out. I want to give a special thank you to our sheriffs for keeping all the runners safe. Already give a special thank you to Paris Elementary School District and Paris High School. And thank you for everybody else that came out. I did take Councilwoman Vallejo's advice, and I went and checked out the Paris High School musical Mean Girls. My plan was actually to just go there for for a few minutes, just to kind of say that I went. But no, it was fantastic. I worked at Paris High for like 12 years. I never saw a musical there, and it was my first one. And it was their third performance, and it was just phenomenal. So congratulations to all those that made that performance great. That's all for me. Thank you.
Councilwoman Alva?
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to applaud our city staff for putting on such a wonderful health fair and fun run, and all the partners and everyone who was able to participate. There's always so much going on and so much happening for our residents to enjoy. So just a great big thank you. And that's all I have for tonight. Thanks.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Vargas. Given the lateness of the hour, I will defer my public comments at this meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, everything was pretty much covered. I did go to lunch with the firefighters. That was hosted by Chick-fil-A. Good event. And just so you know, Councilwoman Vallejo, that we do have our own, we have the Mayor's Art Challenge that we started last year. The winners are displayed in City Hall, and it was displayed throughout social media, and we're coming up on it again already. It's already, yeah, so that's covered. And just so you know, it's all the kids in all our school districts are invited. Okay, I'll move on to City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a lot of events going on this month, so I'll be quick. The Public Services Department is hosting the Take a Hike event this Thursday, April 10th at Frank Eaton Park, and check-ins at 5 p.m. and the hike begins at 5:30 p.m. Also, Public Services is hosting a composting and vermicomposting workshop. Composting workshop on Saturday, April 26th at the Paris Green City Farm. It begins at 10 a.m. Public Services will also be hosting a public artist mixer on Thursday, April 24th at 5 p.m. at the Paris Green City Farm. It's a free event and an opportunity for artists to attend, network, and hear about upcoming public art opportunities. Also, Raising Cane's will finally be opening on April 15th at 239 Old Nuevo Road, near the Nuevo Road exit, right off the I-215. It opens at 9 a.m., and they will be hosting a variety of activities for the community. And lastly, on Saturday, April 26th, the Animal Control Division will be hosting the second annual Pets on Parade event at Rotary Park.
Nice.
They will also be providing free vaccines and a microchip clinic, food vendors, a kids corner, and the parade begins at 11 a.m. The event's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. free of charge. That concludes my report.
Awesome. That's not too bad, guys, 9 o'clock. So moving on, 15 is our adjournment. Unfortunately, another sad passing. So last meeting, we adjourned in honor, or not in honor, but in memory of Jordan Wilson. He was a student at Orange Vista High School. When I followed up to get information for the certificate that we issued, I learned that another student from Orange Vista who just graduated, he graduated a year ago. He was only 18 years old. He passed away on March 20th of this year. And his mother is currently a teacher there at Orange Vista High School. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Orange Vista High School families out there for two sad passings. And I'm sorry, his name is, we are adjourning in memory of Josiah Mason Sarabia, who was an Orange Vista High School graduate from a year ago, the son of a current Orange Vista High School teacher. And that's it for today. Thank you, folks, for hanging out with us. It's not too bad, but we'll see you next time.